Or he did a product launch on BeReal, right? Like I'm not the I'm not the biggest fan of BeReal.
Did in itself perform really well using those trends to make an impact.
Hello and welcome back to the D2C Deep Dive. My name is Fraser and today I am joined by Rigby from Kosas Cosmetics. She's the Director of Growth and this is a really great episode if you're into your cosmetics or maybe you work at a cosmetics company. Whatever it is, you're going to enjoy this one. We talk about TikTok, influencer marketing and even how she ran a campaign. Well, she didn't. Basically, they launched a product on BeReal. We'll talk about it in the episode. Enjoy this one. Okay, tell me about Kosas. You're the Director of Growth there. You're doing some incredible things on social media, incredible products, but you're a fairly big company.
Kosas is a clean beauty brand, which means that there are no carcinogens in the products, unlike most beauty brands. I think that we will definitely see a trend towards consumers opting for clean beauty. So I think Kosas is really well positioned to be kind of a favorite contender there. I know that you don't have Sephora in the UK, but Sephora is in the US and they're...
Well, that's the thing, isn't it? I think everybody knows about Sephora, whether it's on from TikTok or Instagram, some kind of social media. I feel like pretty much everyone knows about it, even if it's not in your country. But it's obviously it's US only. I think I'm actually pretty sure that they're launching in the UK, right?
They are in Q1. Super exciting. I'm hoping to get to come over and be a part of that, ideally.
The thing that I really wanted to speak to you about actually is you've been everywhere. You've done the agency stuff, you've done the freelance stuff, you've done the brand stuff. So you started in an agency, then you went freelance, then you went to a brand, right?
Yeah, so actually the other way around. I started at the agency and went to a small brand, moved on to freelance, and then now I'm at this bigger cosmetic company. So I don't have enough good things to say, or I have a lot of really good things. I have a lot of really good things to say about the agency that I worked at. I started there right out of college, and it was definitely the most formative experience professionally to date, given I've only been at Kosas for about 3 months. Push is a performance marketing agency, that's the agency that I worked at. What is unique about Push as an agency is that you will get a full team that basically could replace your in-house growth team working on your account, 24/7, at most splitting their time with one other account if you're kind of a smaller brand and space allows for it, versus the typical agency model where you'll have one account manager, maybe one media buyer splitting their time across 30 different accounts. And so that makes Push expensive. But you will get, a director on your account who's kind of seeing what's happening across the entire portfolio, a lead who could kind of replace your senior manager of growth, or, director of growth in some instances, kind of thinking about 100% your business and across all of the different channels. And then you'll have an analyst on each channel. So Google, maybe paid social doing Facebook and TikTok, maybe one for Facebook, one TikTok, and then a designer staffed on your account as well. So that was really formative for me because during my time at Push, I had the agency experience of working on a number of brands, maybe 7 or 8 clients over the 4-ish years that I was there. But I got to go really deep on each of them rather than splitting my attention across 30 different brands. So I got to really experience what I liked about certain brands and what I didn't like about certain brands. I got to work with a lot of different leaders. I got to work with a lot of different growth marketers, brand marketers, and get to know each of them well. And it kind of came a point for me after hitting the associate director level at Push, where even though I had a really great experience in terms of learning a ton, getting to try something new, kind of go on projects for like 6 to 8 months and then move on and try something new. And anyone that works at an agent, I'm sure you get this, like client services can be really, really draining. And especially in growth where the work that you're doing is kind of directly correlated to the value of the company. It was frustrating to me to be kind of busted my butt for these companies, working, crazy hours, like going all in because I don't, I can't like switch off and, going all in, working really hard, and then not having the equity upside associated with that. So that for me was the reason that I wanted to go in-house to a brand. And since then, I have fallen in love with the experience of working brand side because of especially working at a brand that was already successful. Especially working at a brand that was already successful because I get to like watch and learn people who are like the best at what they do outside of growth marketing. And, as someone that kind of has that entrepreneurial spirit, being able to just absorb, what grows a company outside of like paid ads, right? Because there's so much that's involved with that. There's the brand positioning, on the marketing side, there's product marketing, there's brand marketing, kind of the more awareness piece. And then making great products is essential to growth, and the way that you plan your inventory is essential to growth. And then, having really great in-house bookkeepers and, the finance team, the exec team, just the operations team, like everyone is an essential part of building the company. And I have really fallen in love with the experience of learning from those people and being inspired by them and getting to work cross-functionally, where the work that I do is part of a larger feedback loop.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's one of the benefits, I guess, of working an agency, is that you get to work across multiple brands. We do it all the time. We're working on a multitude of brands at the same time, even though you tried to give everyone your attention. And that's one of the main reasons that we are quite a small agency in terms of client base, because we like to give everyone an equal opportunity. But what do you think are your key learnings from working for such a long time in the agency space that you can now kind of take over to working in a brand?
Yeah, so I would say, when I was looking for a job in June and was interviewing, or maybe it was May, interviewing with a lot of different brands across D2C. I really wanted to work in beauty, but was, very open because I was freelancing at the time. And a bit of backstory, basically came up to a life transition. My partner and I moved from New York to Washington, D.C. because he's started law school already. And I was ready to kind of start a new job in that, after making that transition, we decided to take some time off this summer to travel. And so that's why I had kind of started freelancing to kind of take time off from the full-time work, have more flexibility. So when it came to looking for jobs in May, being able to say that I worked at a top performance marketing agency where I worked with enormous brands in the D2C space. I'm actually not sure if I'm allowed to name drop them, but I'm going to do it anyway. Blue Apron, Glossier, Hubble contact lenses were all, brands whose media I managed, and I got, the visibility into their organizations. Being able to say that I had that experience as well as working at a smaller brand. So kind of it was a 10-person company, a very, very, very different experience, but kind of having at least the mental model of how to apply performance marketing principles at a brand side, and then also freelancing, particularly at this company that I worked for, Open Store, which is another big layer kind of they're what they're doing is buying a lot of small D2C mom and pop Amazon style brands and kind of aggregating them. And so I was probably running Facebook media for like 40 brands at once while I was freelancing. So very different experience. All of this to say, the experience of working brand side, agency side, freelance side really positioned me to get the jobs that I wanted because of both the breadth and depth of experience that I think, people are looking for, brands are looking for in their director of growth. So I could say, I've seen this problem solved or the way that it's attempting to be solved, continues to be solved at dozens of brands. I've seen different things work in all those places. I've seen the same things not work. I've seen different things, work. And at the same time, because of my experience at Ampush, getting to go deep on certain brands, because of my experience brand side, I also can take the 10,000 foot view of, okay, how does like what I do fit into the larger picture of this company? So I think value prop as an employee.
Yeah, exactly. We see the same problems all the time when clients come to us, right? It's the same creative issues all the time. It's the same problems that they're struggling with. And because we see them all the time, it means that we can very easily fix them because we see it on so many different accounts all the time. Because the fact is that everyone's normally struggling with the same things.
I would say if you are a brand and you're looking to hire a senior manager of growth or a director of growth, go and look at these top performance marketing agencies. And they already do. Like everyone's getting hit up on LinkedIn all the time, but like that's really where the talent is. And the reason for that is exactly what you said, which is you just have so many reps of looking at this problem and you're just absolutely like doused in knowledge about this like very specific thing. And I think it's a lot, it's a different mindset and it's something to learn, but it's definitely a lot easier to go from having really specific tactical knowledge and then bubbling that up into like, okay, how do I rethink my role in the context of a larger organization rather than having the generalist experience and then trying to figure out these like specific tactical tools and skills that, agency side are just hitting you across the face.
So when it comes to your role at Kosas, you are the director of growth. What is your kind of North Star? What are you always aiming towards when it comes to growing the company?
Right. So I have a super fun role and a super fun job because I sit on the marketing team. I'm kind of my own, not department, I'm kind of my own team within the marketing department, where the other teams are the brand marketing team, the e-commerce team, and then the product marketing team. And I get to work with all three of those teams kind of simultaneously. And the reason for that is that my key focus at the end of the day is driving performance media results. And then secondarily, like tied to driving results for the whole company. Obviously, it is much harder to attribute the impact of our performance media dollars on retail sales. Retail meaning brick and mortar and Sephora.com. That being said, we do know that there's a correlation and we do have strategies and tactics that we use to drive sales there as well. So my key focus is working with our e-commerce team on deploying the budget that we have as effectively as possible. I work with Freelancer, a search agency, Grow, they're great. And yeah, our Freelancer on the paid social side is phenomenal. I've learned so much from her. She manages our media, and with our creative team to try and scale our channels and we kind of have to like look at ourselves in the mirror and say, okay, like the money that we're spending in conversion campaigns on Facebook are realistically e-commerce dollars. Like, we're trying to drive e-commerce sales with that. It might have some awareness spillover, but like realistically, like that's what we're trying to do, and we have to try and to our profit targets in that world with those dollars. And so that's my focus there. My other focus is really on scaling TikTok, which, as I'm sure you know, is generally a harder channel to attribute for D2C as well, because I think the customer journey is just so much less direct response on TikTok. But then for us, we have this added layer of complexity of, okay, is what we're doing also driving retail sales as well as our direct to consumer sales? And how do we analyze this investment and make decisions about this investment? So that's kind of the core problem, as well as, of course, working with a creative team and trying to maximize our assets and our resources. And then, like you said, Q4, trying to crush our goals as well as getting set up for 2023. We're in the middle of 2023 planning right now. And to say I'm very grateful that at this brand, we're doing it kind of ahead of time, because every other year of my experience, I have been like, it's been the middle of like Black Friday and I'm like, it's 2 a.m. and I have like crust in my eye, like trying to allocate budget and make changes in the account. And meanwhile, I'm getting like emails like, oh, I need your plan for 2023. Like, don't talk to me right now.
Yeah, 100. Yeah, everyone has the same problems when it comes to Q4. I remember last year specifically, we had like a Christmas tree in the studio, and it was like maybe a week before the Christmas break, and we were all kind of struggling to get this creative done on time because it needed to be done for a launch. And it's just, everyone is normally in the same bucket when it comes to Q4 creative, certainly. But the next thing I want to speak about is Meta and TikTok, and like, I feel like Instagram launched a lot of makeup brands like into their social awareness went up massively, right? Because Instagram is such a dynamic and visual platform. Cosmetics kind of fit in perfectly, didn't it really? So, but now we have TikTok, and that again, the beauty industry have kind of adopted that industry, and just the growth is insane on there. But saying that, are you pushing TikTok, but also you're still running a lot of ads on Meta? What's the play there?
What is true about Kosas and beauty brands in general, in my experience, is that we run our campaigns broad. So I'm not specifically picking where which platform our dollars are going to, but they wildly over-index in delivering to Instagram over Facebook. We do get some Facebook spend kind of in the older demographic. Kosas is a pretty young brand in terms of our audience. So we're really wildly over-indexing on Instagram, especially Instagram stories. And those work very well for us. I think that what Meta as a company has done is they've done a really, really excellent job of commercializing their platform and making it a very easy place for people to make a direct response purchase. And they certainly have more experience, in terms of years as well as engineers, even post iOS 14 in helping you find the people that are going to make the spontaneous purchase and deliver you revenue kind of in that moment. So I really do think of Instagram especially as our kind of like direct response. This is where like the revenue is coming from. This is kind of like, it's not all last click, but it's very close to last click. People are seeing our ads and they're like, yeah, I was thinking about that. I wanted that. I'm going to buy that now. For TikTok, and I think, it's insane, the beauty community on TikTok. They're some of the most followed creators on the app. The competition is really intense. Like all brands are really catching on now. Sephora is advising brands to invest in TikTok, and the influencer rates in terms of what they charge for a post and for usage are just going through the roof. So TikTok really is the playing ground for awareness and where you want to be like competing with other brands, basically. So that's the case for beauty. But I also think if you think about content on TikTok in general, what we're seeing, and you can tell me if you're having the same experience, like I will go on TikTok, scroll for 30 minutes, and then, the following week, what was trending on TikTok is on Instagram. In the sounds and the content and the content trends. So just thinking about that funnel where I've already said that I kind of place Instagram like at the bottom in a direct response way, like TikTok is the awareness. This is where, like, again, they haven't done as good of a job as a company yet. I'm sure that they're working on it, commercializing the platform in terms of having people make that direct response directly attributable purchase. But in terms of competing in beauty, building your brand awareness, having the opportunity to speak to the consumer about the specific value props of the product and why, in a competitive space, why you should choose this one over the hundreds of other concealers that you have the opportunity to purchase. TikTok is really the place to be. And I absolutely don't want to take credit for our strategy on TikTok. Our brand team is incredible. Like, no one works harder than the influencer coordinator at a beauty brand. And they've done just a really phenomenal job building virality around our products, building buzz around our products, getting the products into the hands of the right people, making sure that it's packaged with the right messaging, building phenomenal relationships. And then the outcome of that for me is, one, brand awareness, which makes everything easier. Just from like a metric standpoint, when you have like a steady stream of organic search and brand search, conversions coming in really cheap, like it helps blend everything down. But it's also, we just have so much content to test and run, both from micro influencers who have been influenced by the big guys that we have relationships with, and they're putting their genuine, sincere reviews out into the world. And like that's the stuff that, we have one ad from an influencer that has like maybe 2,000 followers. And I'm sure she's going to grow. She's great. That I've been running, since day one, hasn't even begun to fatigue. We're sparking that on TikTok, and I'm just going to keep it running until it stops, basically. And I don't know if it ever will, because it's just such a sincere testimonial. She really made the content better than we could ever have briefed it, because of the like sincere, genuine love for the product, and the fact that as an organic consumer, she knew so much about the product already because of the awareness marketing that the brand team has been doing. So that was a bit of a long-winded way to say that I think of TikTok as upper funnel. We're definitely investing there. It's extremely important in beauty. Instagram, I think, is a little bit less of a discovery channel these days, and definitely more of kind of like a commercial space for.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the core, I guess, problems with TikTok, is that it's so great for top of the funnel, but it's not so good for the other stuff, for the actual conversions, because it feels so strange, because you kind of get in a rhythm of you just swiping and watching, and it feels so unnatural to click off that and then go and purchase something. Whereas on Instagram, that's kind of what you're doing. It's back to what we always say, that TikTok is an TikTok is an entertainment platform, right? Whereas Instagram, Facebook, there's social media, you feel much more at home to click off to websites. Whereas TikTok, you're just not there, right? And we spoke a little bit then about influencers, and obviously organic plays a huge part in TikTok. And you guys, you've had some viral videos yourself. Like, are you pushing organic a lot, or is it just all about the paid for you?
It's definitely both. I would actually say that our organic strategy is probably the priority right now, over paid ads. We are sparking, we are running, and we're testing into that. But the paid ads aren't going to work unless there's real content, real love, real awareness. again, like I said, I can't take any credit for the amazing work that our brand team has done on the organic side. But it's a massive investment. I would encourage, the founder, the growth marketer at any direct to consumer company to look at what beauty brands are doing on TikTok, and the amount of energy that you can presume goes into getting getting the kind of awareness that beauty brands have, because it's extremely powerful. Like you said, it's an entertainment platform, and the people who make the best content rise to the top, and you want to make sure that your product is in the hands of those people, and that they have some kind of affinity for it that you built through great relationships and great marketing.
Have you found the best content to be UGC? Because UGC, makeup, cosmetics feel like they go hand in hand, or have you been experimenting with some other stuff? Do you want to experiment with some other stuff? What's been the content plan?
Yes, UGC is definitely the business driver for us. I'll put UGC in quotes because it's really sourced influencer content, and content that we had briefed and that we're working with the influencer to get made. Obviously, I would love if we had more like organic, like sincere, genuine, user-generated content. I mentioned before that one of those posts has been like a top performer for us on TikTok and continues to crush. But when you have an influencer with whose image and likeness has just a ton of awareness, that is like the automatic thumbs up on TikTok. We pull those over to Facebook as well. And the click-through rates are insane. The thumb stops are insane. There's really nothing like it. But, the downside to that is that that's expensive content, both to get it made and then to continue to pay for the usage rights. You really have to believe that the ROI is there to continue to invest in it. And companies that are smaller than we are and don't have the scale in terms of cash, I think we'll have a hard time executing on that. Just to kind of like put that in context in the beauty industry, beauty right now, and I know that there's a lot of discourse around this, generally in e-commerce, is so celebrity driven and influenced. You think of some of the biggest brands. We've got Rare Beauty by Selena Gomez, Fenty Beauty by Rihanna, REM Beauty by Ariana Grande, House Labs by Lady Gaga. Even Jones Road has, Bobbi Brown. So they have that, kind of like immediate awareness built in. And it feels like every other day a new celebrity is, Sierra just launched a beauty brand or something. It's like, okay. Which, it's great. I wish them all well, but, we are not a celebrity founded brand. Our founder, Sheena, is brilliant and obviously incredible at what she does because of, the company is successful without that inherent awareness. But for us, it is really important to have those influencer relationships because that's where the awareness comes from for us, rather than having kind of this built-in mechanism to drive awareness about the brand. So that's the core piece. We are working on a strategy to create more UGC style content in-house. We have, a full-time content creator who runs our social channels, and she's great. She's young. She knows all of the trends, and we recently moved into a new office space that has beautiful lighting and all of the kind of all of the fundamentals that we would need to get more content made. So that's something that I'm hoping to focus on next year. Going into Q4, I'm hoping to work with our creative team on creating some really highly engaging and highly converting statics, which is not a phrase that you hear very often and might not even believe that they exist. But we recently ran a sale and have a large chunk of data from a large amount of spend over, kind of a specific time boxed period where we were very closely A/B testing the results of various creative types, and just especially looking into Q4 and thinking about the platform costs are going to just continue to rise on Facebook and Instagram. The advantage of having like statics that work is that they're just so much cheaper to deliver. They're never going to be as engaging. They're never going to be, you don't even have a thumbs up on statics. You kind of have like a click or not a click, but it's just so much cheaper to deliver that I'm hoping to figure out a way to bring that into our strategy for holiday.
Okay, before we go, I have to ask you this question. I was scrolling through your TikTok and I saw something that really caught my eye, which was that, right, you launched a product, or you did a product launch on BeReal, right? Like, I'm not the biggest fan of BeReal, but I feel like it's not the first marketing channel that I'd go to. Am I right? Did you launch a product on BeReal?
Yeah. So again, this was outside of my team. This was our content creator Raya, who I think was inspired by this trend that she saw on TikTok. Look, I mean, I'll be candid. BeReal is not a big channel for us. It was more of a mechanism for the TikTok content, which did in itself perform really well. But it was more part of the teasing of the product strategy than the actual product launch itself. So I'm not going to say that BeReal is a real business driver for us, but it is. I think it's an example of what our organic social team does really well, which is being on top of trends and using those trends to make an impact. So that was really the outcome there.
Yeah, absolutely love that. If you haven't seen this video, you need to head over to their TikTok and watch it, because it is truly hilarious. Anyway, it's been a real pleasure having you. Thank you so much for your time. Massively appreciate it. If people want to follow along with your journey, they want to see what Kosas are up to, what's the best place to do that?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, definitely follow Kosas on TikTok, Instagram. Check us out in Sephora the next time you're walking around. And then for me, I'm on Twitter. I'm on TikTok, but more for beauty. I think if you're a D2C listener, you'll find me. You'll find me on Twitter. So that's at the Sean Rigby.
Amazing. Perfect. Well, thank you very much. It's been, as I said, massive pleasure to have you on. And I'll let you get on with your day now. Thank you so much.
It's been fun. Thank you. It was great to meet you.
And that's it for this episode of the D2C Deep Dive. Thanks very much for listening, as always. And if you did really enjoy, then leave us a 5-star review. That would be much appreciated on Spotify and iTunes. Make sure you follow and subscribe on all of the platforms. And I'll see you next week.